Hi, it's Wesley with Expandacraft, and we are here for video number 2 of the newest project we have. This is a 16-foot outrigger canoe. I'm going to call this one black and tan for obvious reasons. Now, what we're going to do on this video is, this is a connector kit. That is how you connect the canoe and outrigger kit. There's options that you can use different types of connector kits, some that do and some that don't put holes in your canoe. This is an old plastic canoe that I got dirt cheap. Had a hump in the middle. That's what all that wood apparatus is in the middle, is I'm retraining the plastic. And I think what I've decided to do is I'm going to put a rib down the center. It's called a runner. And I'll probably go down with a strut to keep that shape good and strong. So anyway, I don't mind putting holes in a canoe I got for cheap, and I'm going to breathe in a whole new life into this old canoe with new outrigger kit. Later towards the end of the video, I'm going to do a full-on installation of one of these and show you exactly how to put it on your canoe. Now, decking options. I'll show you right now. I'm going to get around there. Now, these aren't attached yet. You can use straps. There's all kinds of ways for quick release. Or you can, if you're going to affix it, like this one will probably never come apart. This one's in my rental fleet, and it has its own trailer. I have plenty of yard. But you might have to take your boat apart and put it on the roof rack or what have you, which is a good thing, because I get asked a lot. I get a lot of crap online when I post pictures of my outrigger canoes. Why don't you just buy a real boat? Well, because not everyone has a place to park a boat on a trailer. Some HOAs don't allow it. Some people can't physically handle a large pontoon boat, not to mention the price of a pontoon boat versus something like this. I mean, I got it all over. The other thing is you can quickly disconnect your outrigger kit and use your canoe as a canoe. Can't do that with a pontoon boat. So there you go, haters. All right, now this is an 8-foot long aluminum. And I'll show you the bottom. It has what looks like I-beams here. You could just use 2 and leave the outer one off, but this is enough place. When I do 3 decks on either side, this is enough that I can put lounge chairs if I wanted to, or walk around. You can have 6 people, 3 on either side, or 4 even. This would take 8 people, with your legs hanging inside and sitting in a stadium seat that you can buy for $30 online, that you can move forward, take off easily. They're $30, very cheap and comfortable option that you can have or not have on your boat. Nothing is fixed, like there was this fixed plastic piece here. The key is the options. You have so many options with Expandacraft. Now, there's going to be more videos on this, but you should subscribe. All right, let me say, students, what are we going to do next? Decking. Oh, sails. Right here, I'm going to have a sail mounted for one particular type of sail. I'm also going to have a sail mount over here where a temporary apparatus is. I'll have a sail mount for a different type of rig. One is going to be a freestanding, roller furling little sail that'll make you go, but it's not real fast. Then I have a sloop rig, which has a jib and a big main, a big mast. Now that's a go somewhere sail. Not everybody is into sailing, I realize that, but anybody can use the simple rig, because that's what I'm going to use when I have it set up for rentals. But then I can easily put my performance rig on it. All right, I'm going to go to the middle. Speaking of sailing, if you subscribe, you're going to see how to make a foil-shaped rudder. We're going to do an entire video on how to make a foil-shaped rudder. That is, that it's like an airplane wing, sort of. It has a foil shape, so it's thin on the back side and has a curve here. Well, if I connect this one here, and I'll have a swinging apparatus so that it can be controlled to go up and down. Now you have underwater lateral resistance, which is what you need when you're sailing to go upwind. and where it goes and how big it is or how deep it goes dictates how well you can go upwind. All right, let me grab my notes. Come on back this way. I'm going to show you. This is the blade that goes with this particular rudder. And what I'm going to do is, on another video, if you subscribe, you will be able to come into the lesson that we're going to do on not only how to make a rudder blade, but how to make the rudder box and how to put a rudder on the back of a pointy canoe. And if you'll come here, I'll show you, I'll give you a little tease as to how this is done. And then we're going to do a full video. If you subscribe, you can find that as it comes up in the series. This is number 2. Now, this rudder, a pendle, we're going to make this over again, but here's how it attaches. Most all of the sailboats that I've had have been attached by tiny little screws and a little silver hoop that you put your pendle through. That's always the part that breaks. You never want to leave yourself, especially in a boat like this where you can't really paddle it. You can steer it with a motor that's off center, but it's a little more difficult. You don't want your rudders to break, and that's the part that usually breaks. So I tend to make my rudders durable, and this, my friend, is stout. It's not going to break. You'll break the rudder completely to pieces before you break this. All right, now it's time for the end of this video, but the start of the installation of the connector kit. I'm going to show you, for if you're going to be doing this or you've already bought your kit and you want to know how to do it, this is how you do it. Okay, let me get you to come around this way, and it doesn't matter if my face is in this because I'm going to be working right here. See if you can come down this way and see how it's done. Now, here's the parts. The 2 plastic plates go here. They sandwich the side or the wall of the canoe, and they do that so that the screws that go in there and this apparatus will squeeze, and it will involve all of this area into the shock load or the absorption of the shock load and the stress, rather than if you were to just take a bolt and shoot it through this gunnel, it's probably going to tear it right off. I mean, your first day. Every single canoe has a different angle, a different style, a different thickness to it. So my kits don't come with every single hole pre-drilled because I'd have to know exactly where to drill the holes for your canoe. I didn't know what I was getting into, so I just bought this old canoe. All right, it's a little tricky to do it one-handed or single-handed, but I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to line this up. I've already measured. I've got all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 out of the 6 connections already, so this is in place. You have to measure where you're going to put your cross tubes. That's in another video, by the way. Now, I'm lucky enough to have big hands, so I can reach around on both sides. I'm going to take the fat end, see I have the skinny and the fat, and I'm going to put it as close up as I can so that I can drill through. But I'm going to use my clamp here, one-handed. This is tricky. So if you have 2 people, helper, good weekend project this would be for, you know, a couple of buddies, father, son.
Do you need my hand?
Because this, nope, I'm going to do it because I did it all the others. All right, so get a little pressure on it. Well, I'm actually illustrating exactly what it's like to work it by yourself, but you got to understand, and some of you do, when you have to work by yourself, occasionally, let's see if it'll do. Nope, it's got to be this way. Gotta have it. I think what I need to do is set this There we go. You know, now that I think about it, it probably wouldn't hurt to just take some glue prior to doing this, so that these, you don't have to do what I'm doing. And somebody educate the educator some days. All right, so I got it set. I'll try. If I had a speed clamp, it'd be easier, but I don't have one handy, so I'm struggling. Okay, this is not working. I need a speed clamp, so I'm going to do it the dangerous way. There's going to be a certain amount of this. All right, I've dropped the one on the inside. I've lined this up. I've got my 1/4 inch drill. I'm going to take all right, I've drilled through this one. Now that I've done that, I can remove this, line this one up. Now I can drill through here. Yeah. Once you get the first one, it's going to be easy. All right, so if you buy the connector kit, it comes with all of the washers and things that you need. You want to make sure that you put a stainless washer on, and here, go through, and then attach here. Then you put another flat washer, a lock washer, and then one of the regular nuts, not one of the nylock nuts. Different. It helps if you hold your tongue like this. Everybody knows that trick. All right, now that I got, nope. Okay, this is kind of a comedy of errors. I got ahead of myself. But it kind of illustrates this. When you're doing this kit by yourself, it's easy to get ahead of yourself. I forgot to add this. And that takes the longer bolt. Now, when I use the longer bolt, you'll notice that I have just enough room that the head sticks out before it touches here, so that I can then get it to go into here. Now, I don't know what I dropped. Now I can push it through the hole. Get it in there. Get this side on. And now on the back side, I can use flat washer, lock washer, nut. All right. I'm kind of glad that I messed up a little bit, because this is what you're going to have to expect. That this is an adapter kit, not a custom piece made to go on this or that canoe. It's an adapter kit, so you might have to do a little thinking. All right, so now that I got that in place, it's a lot easier. Use my clamp. Now I can use 2 hands to get it. There we go. There we go. Now, all right. Now I got the clamp in order. A speed clamp, if you know what I'm talking about, would have been boom. These are difficult to do one-handed. It's just not the right tool for the job. It's just all I had today. All right, so I'm lining this up. I'm making sure that the back side, that the plates on here and here are lined up. Now I can drill my 1/4 inch hole through here. my longer of the bolts that comes in the kit. And you don't need a washer on this end because it's going up against the aluminum of the little connector. And if I'd have had a good clamp in the first place, I wouldn't have had to gone through all that. So look and learn from my mistakes. All right, I'm going to put in, again, flat washer, lock washer, and the regular one. I don't need the, yeah. Nylock is the nuts that have a piece of nylon inside of them, and they are really great because if you want to use those where you're going to use like a motor mount where things rattle a lot, but if you use a gun to drive them in, they're likely to seize. If you make it go too fast, the stainless will seize to the nylon. See if I can line that up. All right. Yeah. That part is installed. Yeah. Lizzie, I want you to come around here so we can get a little extra look. Okay. For expedience sake, I'm just going to drill the hole, but you want to have one down low. And we'll put bolts in there, which is why I did it. This is where you would want to have the bolt with a flat washer on it, because it's going up against the plastic direct. You do want it that way. Okay, so we'll go through that later. Now comes the tricky part. I think I dropped. I did. See if I can fish that out. You know, I was thinking earlier, one thing that would have been handy is if I had put a tarp, you know, park this thing over a tarp. Then when I lose screws, and also when I have metal shavings, I don't have metal shavings all over my grass and yard. That would be bad. Okay, you might have to come in close because I'm going to do an overhead shot here. This is the compression plate. Now if you look on the front one, you can see how it ends up being. Now this one comes to you, but it doesn't come with the center hole drilled. It doesn't come with that for a reason. Because, now if you'll come over here, you're going to have to do kind of an overhead shot. Overhead shot. You don't have to have my face in it. There you go. If you'll notice, the plate, the compression plate, lines up here with this connector. But different canoes, sometimes the canoe has an angle to it. Sometimes it's this way, sometimes it's that way. This one is fairly up and down here, but the front had more curve to it. So that when you drill your big hole, and you're going to need, in this case, I needed a longer one. This is a 5/16. When you drill your big hole, you're going to use this as a guide. But in order to do so, you're going to, and if I had a pin, I would mark it. But you have to kind of eyeball it, because this is obviously not square to the tube. It's square to this. And I'm going to mark right there. Now here I'm going to drill a 1/4 inch hole. Now, here's the fun part. Let's see, where's my short one? I drill a hole here that is less than the 1/4 inch. Don't have it in my head right now as to what size it is, but you might have to experiment. But this one has already been tapped. But if you drill the hole in this, and the hole is slightly less than the diameter here, you want the hole to be to where the threads just barely show. And if you take an impact wrench, this is an impact wrench, I call it Bam Bam, and you take a number 3 tip and you go in, you tap it down a little bit, back it out, tap it down a little bit, back it out. Do that a couple of 3 times and you will self-tap. You don't need a tapping tool. If you have a tapping tool for a 1/4 inch, a 1/4 20 bit, that's fine. Now look, since it's a 1/4 inch hole and a 1/4 inch thread, it should, well, it's a little on the, I could slop it out a little bit. And that hole doesn't go all the way through, just one side. That's so this holds in place. There goes all my tools and stuff. Okay, so that's how. So that is what cages this. So now I can drill my big hole. I'm going to start just by eyeballing it. It would probably be nice if you clamp it down, but I've done so many of these, and this one is pretty well straight. So I'm going to get my eyeballer going here. Turn it on high. Alrighty. Now just focus in on that for a moment while I step over here off camera and get some bolts. All right, so once again, I got the wrong bolt, and you can wallow it out just a little bit, or even drill this hole slightly larger than the 5/16, maybe one size up from the 5/16. It can have a little slop in it. It doesn't have to be machine. I'm not building a Chevy 350 here. All right, you see that's in there. The only problem is, again, I said I bought the wrong bolts. I got a 1/2 inch more shaft without threads than I need, so I need about an inch shorter bolt. I got 6s, I need 5s. With the kit, it doesn't come with 5 6-inch bolts. Because this boat has such a high gunnel, there's more gap, more space here. So I had to run to the hardware store to get some parts. And of course, I got the wrong parts. So I got to go back to the hardware store. You have to expect that you're probably going to run into that at least once. However, if you start with my kit, at least you'll start with all of these specialty pieces with some of the holes pre-drilled, so that it's going to make it a lot less difficult for you to mount this to your boat. Okay, now I put that bolt in there, then I got this one to cage it. Now I can go over here and drill the second one. We're almost done. All right, now I'm going to show you why I don't pre-drill the first hole. I need you to come again over top of me. Sometimes when this is tilted at an angle, you'll have to drill that hole, and this one is like pretty well straight up and down, mostly, but some of them are going to be at an angle. What you want to make sure is that if I seated this proper right in the middle and yours is at a bit of an angle, then the bolt, the second hole, would be there. See the angle? Now you can't put a bolt on it. So you might have to walk this top part out to where it's not directly over here, so that the first hole is closer to the edge here, giving it a chance to have that angle like so. This particular one was straight up and down, so I pretty much centered it. But if yours is at a big angle, you're going to have to start the hole, the top hole, here, so that your bolt goes in and still have enough room down here to put a bolt in without it being up against the boat. You do that, and you'll be ordering another kit and doing a lot of cussing. So we don't want that. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That is the connector kit. You bolt them on. If you want this to be, oh, and this is important. if you want to use your Canoe without the connector kit and you want to take all this apparatus off, you can make this the quick release part with wing nuts. In this particular case, I make this one, and I'm not using wing nuts at all because this boat is never going to come apart until I have to do a repair or something. This boat is going to be in my rental fleet, and it has its own dedicated trailer. So you have to decide, do you want to be able to take wing nuts and pop that off quickly? If you do, I recommend you use some kind of Loctite or even plumber's tape to make sure that the wing nuts don't just accidentally rattle out. That's it, folks. Now make sure you subscribe. This is only number 2 of however many it's going to take. Day 2 for a weekend project. I have at my shop done this with help in 4.5 hours. So it can be done, but that's when you've got 2 experienced installers. It's a good weekend project. Expandacraft.com. Don't forget to subscribe.